Hello, welcome to another edition of Cooking with Donna. Today I'm going to be preparing some brown stew chicken my way. I'm going to start by cutting up some fresh seasoning. I also have some powdered seasoning that I'm going to use to season my already cleaned chicken. So I've already rough chopped some green onions. I'm gonna just do another stalk because I'm also going to be making some rice and peas to go with the brown stew chicken. My beans are soaking right now because I'm going to have my chicken sit in the marinade for about an hour. I'm gonna be using some onions and scallions and Scotch bonnet pepper and some tomatoes as my fresh seasoning. And I have garlic paste, some paprika, dried thyme, and some black pepper, as I said, and all-purpose seasoning. So I'm gonna put all my chopped fresh seasoning in one container because it's all gonna be used to season the chicken. And I don't want to put everything in the marinade. I'm gonna leave some behind for the stewed chicken for the last 20 minutes of the cooking process. So let's go with some tomatoes. So some juicy cherry tomatoes. Tomato. Any kind works for me. Ooh, yeah, let's get about 3 more. And I'm gonna be cutting a piece of this habanero pepper for the marinade. And I'm gonna have to be really careful with that. Let's see if we can do this skillfully. Yeah, here we go. I have some paper towels sitting under my cutting board so that I don't make too much of a mess. All right, so Scotch bonnet pepper. This piece doesn't have any seeds in it, I don't think. So let's cut here. The seeds are what really have all that heat. All right, so let me grab my wooden spoon so I could just sprinkle some of this seasoning over the chicken. Like I said, I'm gonna leave some behind. Alrighty, so here I go with, let's see, I'm gonna put some black pepper and I'm just eyeballing it. This is probably gonna end up being about a teaspoon of black pepper. I have my soy sauce, and this is probably gonna be about a half a cup. Going in with the browning because it is brown stew chicken. And that I would say is about a tablespoon of browning. Here's my garlic. I have fresh squeezed garlic. I can't cook without garlic. I love garlic. And that's probably about 2 teaspoons. And we can't forget the dried thyme. That's about a teaspoon. And I love cooking with paprika. That's about a half a teaspoon of paprika. Now I'm going in with my all-purpose seasoning. And this is probably gonna be about, I would say, 2 teaspoons. Alrighty, I'm using my hands. Have to get into the chicken to get all this marin seasoning on every part of the chicken. Don't be afraid to get in. This is looking really good already. I'm going to have this sit in my refrigerator for about an hour. When I really have time, I like to have my meats marinating overnight. So under better circumstances, this would have been already seasoned and sitting in my refrigerator. And when I have it sitting overnight, when I get ready to cook, I don't use the marinade in the pot that I'm cooking the chicken. I throw the marinade out and cut fresh seasoning to season the pot as it's cooking. Okay, so to go with the brown stew chicken that I'm making, we're gonna have rice and peas. But I'm using red kidney beans, which were washed and soaked. And now I'm making it. I'm actually making 8 ounces of beans. In the 8 ounces of beans, to cook it, I'm cooking it in 8 cups of water. Important because I'm only making 2 cups of rice. But by the time the beans are cooked, most of the water should have evaporated and we should only have about 4 to 5 cups remaining. I'm gonna season the beans with some all-purpose seasoning because I like my rice and bean seasoned. Some onion powder. Definitely can't make rice and peas without some thyme. So I have about a teaspoon here. And I'm also gonna add some pimento seeds in here because rice and peas taste better with it. And just probably about 8 or so seeds. Not a lot because I'm not making a lot of rice and peas today. Alrighty, and I'm not adding any salt to this pot just as yet because all the powdered seasoning that I've added has a lot of salt in it already. I'm going to be adding coconut milk to this, but halfway through the cooking process, I'm gonna add the coconut milk. So now I'm going to cook this on high, stir all the seasoning in, and because the beans were soaking, it shouldn't take too long to cook. We'll just watch this. And then in about half an hour, I'm gonna get my chicken that's been marinating and start. So now we're gonna get ready to start actually cooking the brown stew chicken, which was sitting in the marinade for a little while. So I have a nice pot. I wish I had a Dutch pot, but I don't have a Jamaican style Dutch pot, but this will do. I'm going to actually add about a half a cup of cooking oil to this pot and get it nice and hot. Let me get my oil. So I'm gonna measure this roughly. That's about a half a cup of canola oil. And you can use whichever cooking oil you like to use. So now it's on. I'm gonna set this on probably about 8, which is almost high, to get this really nice and hot. And ooh, this chicken looks absolutely wonderful. All right, so this oil is nice and hot and ready. So let's put, yeah, you hear that sizzle? Woo! I'm just gonna start turning these pieces over on the other side before I actually cover the pots so that they can stew. And as they're stewing, I'm going to chop some fresh seasoning with some sweet peppers to go into this pot. Like I said, probably about 20 minutes before it's finished cooking. If this tastes as good as it smells, I'm gonna have to open up a restaurant. Here we go. All right, so now I'm gonna chop some more green onions and some sweet peppers for both the chicken and the rice and peas. So now I'm adding a cup of coconut milk to my beans. I'm adding a whole Scotch bonnet pepper that was washed. And I'm going to add some of the chopped onions and scallions. Okay, so I'm going to add sweet peppers to my brown stew chicken as well. But I like using these mini bell peppers. I really do. And I'm using different colors just because I like different colors. So I have red, orange, and yellow. Now I'm gonna just chop a few more tomatoes. And now I'm gonna add all of this to my chicken. And because I need to make a really nice gravy, I'm gonna add some chicken stock. So now I'm gonna add my chicken stock, and it's at room temperature. If this was taken from the refrigerator, I would have warmed it before pouring it over my chicken. Now I'm gonna cover this and leave it for probably about 30 minutes. Okay, so we're gonna finish cooking the rice now because the beans are cooked. And one thing that you should always do is fish out the habanero pepper before it breaks. You really just want the flavor from the skin. And I tried the beans and they're nice and tender. Now I'm going to add my 2 cups of hard-boiled rice. Now I have a lot of fluid or liquid in this pot. I can add probably another cup. So it's gonna be 3 cups instead of 2 cups. Now that we've added the rice, I'm gonna turn the heat up to about a 6. I'm gonna cover and let the water come to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, I'll turn the heat back down to 2 because we don't want the water drying out before the grains are cooked. In the time being, take a look at the brown stewed chicken. This is looking delish. The meat's falling off the bone. I'm going to get myself a little spoon. Let's rinse this spoon off so I can try this gravy and not burn myself. Oh my God. This is my take of brown stewed chicken and rice and peas. I enjoyed cooking this today. I hope you enjoy this recipe with your family. See you next time.